Well,
Louder than I thought it would be.
we'll take it.
Just not like a judge.
Today is Tuesday, December 9th, 2025. We are in the Fayette County School Corporation Admin Building. If we could please stand for
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We are going to start with the band, CMS band.
Oh, we're starting at the bottom, we'll switch.
We're gonna flip like, yeah.
Okay. I make those guys.
All right, we want to thank you for letting the CMS band come and perform for you tonight. This is kind of a snippet or a sneak preview of what you can come to the Life Center on Friday at 7 o'clock to check out a combined concert with the high school and the middle school as well. Wonderful choirs under the direction of Mr. Stephen Fletcher, and we've got just a select group of them for some holiday tunes to get you in the school or get you into the holiday spirit.
Thank you, Dr. Ty.
I want to say thank you for allowing us to come in and play for you this evening. Like was just mentioned, this is a small little snippet of the music that we'll be presenting on Friday at the concert. And we again just want to thank you. And hopefully this helps bring you the holiday cheer and get ready for the holiday season. Give you 2. 3. 1, 2. Thank you again. Thank you so much for all this favor. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, all that
Mr.
good
Fletcher,
stuff.
is it possible, just really quickly, can you have them introduce themselves and tell us what
Yes.
instrument they play? Is that okay?
Yes. Could go right down the row, state your name and the instrument that you play.
Alexander String, I play the trumpet.
Fernando Mendoza, and I play the trumpet.
Keen Sharp, and I play the trumpet. Jesse Struan, and I play the trumpet.
Landon Brewer, and I play the tuba.
Alyssa Charles, and I play the French horn.
Matthias Reed, I play the French horn. Avery Robinson, and I play the trombone.
Zach Agee, and I play the trombone.
Brady Atkins, and I play the trombone.
Stephen Fletcher and I just wave my arms around.
Mr. Fletcher, I have a question.
Yes.
Are all trumpets the same, or are some lower, emit a lower tone than others?
There are basically 7 styles of trumpet. These are B flats. These are the standard trumpets. I own D trumpets. I own E flat trumpets, C trumpet, multiple B flat trumpets. I don't own a piccolo trumpet. It's the little tiny one that plays super high. And then we have G pitch trumpets, which are basically bugles with valves.
And is that the same for all the brass instruments? They all have different
Almost.
keys?
The trombones, yeah, they're all different keys. The trombones, if you'll raise your trombone up there, this is what we call an F attachment. These are the desired instruments for middle school and high school students when they can step up to it. French horns, we have double horns, which are the same horns we use in the professional world. If you want to, yeah, this is a single horn, which is a student horn, great horn. This is what we call a Philip Farkas, which is a professional horn. That one's probably close to 36 years old and still creates a nice sound. When you take care of stuff, it takes care of you. And then tuba, tubas come in B flat, they come in F, they come in G, they come in C. But within the band setup, we stay within the typical keyed instruments for that.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Helps to know.
Thank you so much.
Good job.
Great job,
Yeah,
guys.
great job.
That was super.
Yeah, good job, guys.
You said Friday at 5, right?
Friday, yeah, Friday at the high school, at the auditorium.
What time, Mr. Fletcher?
Concert begins at 7,
Oh,
7 o'clock. Look forward to seeing you guys there.
Parents, you will not offend us if you walk out. You're okay.
They're all like waiting for the guy.
Thank you so much for coming. It's great to see you.
Choir is also singing Friday night.
Middle school
Choir
choir
has middle school.
And we have left.
They sing a couple of songs at the high school, but then their band performs.
Middle school choir is Thursday night, at 7, and then the combined thing is Friday night at 7.
Right.
And the freshman basketball game is Thursday night at 6. But they're short.
Next up is Eastview Student Council.
Well, it's a hard presentation to top, but I will say, I played the French horn in school. My dad played the trumpet, my brother played the trombone, so it's pretty cool to see all the
You could have like a
Yeah,
little
yeah.
That's true.
And I just sing. And you just sing.
Mary. Oh,
So
there you
there
go.
we go.
I think they've got a talent show.
Well, my name is Kate Charlton. I'm the proud principal of Eastview Elementary School, and here I have two of some of my best teachers, and they are in charge of our student council at Eastview. So I have Mrs. Mary Callahan to my right, and Mrs. Kami Scott to my left, and they're going to tell you a little bit what we're doing in student council at Eastview. Okay?
Hopefully it's works.
There we are, Eastview. So one of the things that we do every year is a food drive. This is my third year doing student council, and so what we've done each time is just take our food to the Little Spartans preschool. Sometimes we've had years of competition, like you can see up there in 23, 24 we did, 24 and 25, and 25, 26 we just haven't had the time frame or things to put that together, but we still wanted to do each year. And then we have the kids go, if you see in each of these, they put the posters together, they collect everything, and then we take it to the preschool and we do everything we can to organize it for them as well. We actually had a volunteer come in this year, the day we were there, delivering them on the 19th of November, and she was like, oh, I guess you guys have done everything, because we'd even took stuff that was already there and organized and to see what we could do to help them out.
And I have been doing this just for the 2 years. And so another fundraiser that we have is we do some different sales events. And so we've done the candy cane and we've done Valentine's Day suckers. And so with the profits of those sales, we like to get our students student council shirts. So it shows that they are a member of our student council and that they can wear it to any of the events that we have and that they show representation. Right now, we have them being student leaders where they are welcoming all the students every morning at 2 different entrances. But they're wearing their shirts, so it's another way for them to be able to be seen by other students. So it encourages students to hopefully be inspired to want to join student council when they get to that age.
And with that, with this, we have 2 different kinds of areas that we go with the fundraising. One for our budget for student council, and then the other for something exciting. We've done charities in the past that we'll see on the next page, but we have a really neat thing that we're going to start as a tradition coming up. But we do things like teacher appreciation and secretary day and bus driver appreciation, try to get them a little bit of a knick-knack or some thought, which goes into here. We've done these larger sales are things that are charity funds. And so places that we've done with that, we've done St. Jude's and Shriners, and we did the animal shelter. And this year, you want to explain it?
Okay. So this year, I had mentioned that maybe we could bring in a scholarship, a new tradition that we could hand out to somebody that has gone to Eastview. And with the money that we have raised in some of our sales, that we can present a scholarship to a student at the end of each school year. And even if it's $200-300, maybe $400, I guess it depends on our sales, that we could present that to a graduating CHS individual that has attended Eastview. So that's what our goal is.
When we presented it to our student council is made up of 4th, 5th, and 6th graders, and they apply at the beginning of each year, and we do it anonymous. So, and we've asked them not to say, I was on it next year, so that we can literally do it anonymous. We look at their essays, and then we give it to Mrs. Charlton, and she gives it back to us and says, these are good fits, because she'll look at the names and the behaviors and that sort of thing. But when we asked for this, because we want the buy-in, we want the feedback from each other, and every single one of them, they loved the idea. They loved that perhaps one day it might be them. So, anyway, gosh. These are some of the things we had asked to do throughout the year, is prepare for different things that the school is hosting. service projects we've done.
Yeah, because getting rid of germs, that's one of the things that they said, well, what can we do? And so one of the projects is they stay after and they help wipe down all the different things, door handles, tables, just anything that we have been asked to help do. The kids, they just love doing it. And it's almost like who can get their rags the dirtiest, then they know that they've cleaned really well. So they like doing that. So, yeah.
We went to Majestic Care last year, and between both of us, even the ones, because we'd sent pictures, like somehow they didn't make it on Facebook, and somehow they got lost, so we don't have any of those, but we do try to go to some Majestic Care and things to brighten the spirits of the people that live there as well. Different school activities. Kindergarten roundup, we don't have pictures, but the kids are asked to just kind of help and guide the parents and kids where they need to go. And then this year we helped with Followpalooza and having different stations.
And this coming Saturday, we are having breakfast with Santa, and our students are going to be there to help volunteer, either helping to clean up the cafeteria, helping out with photographs, and they are going to work in shifts from 8 to 9, 9 to 10, or 10 to 11, and the PTO is putting this on, and they asked if our students on student council would be willing to come in on a Saturday, and they said yes. So, now not all of them, but we had so many that said yes, we'll come, and so they're going to help out on this Saturday.
And that kind of, I think that gets us to where we're going with the leadership, things that we've created. We have norms, so during our meetings, we kind of try to run it like a PLC kind of thing, but with setting norms, we do that very first meeting we have. We have quarterly jobs that are voted on by each other, and those are a facilitator, graphic designer, timekeeper, note taker, and a substitute to fill in. And then what we've started this year, we're door greeters. And so we've rotated through 4th grade, 5th grade, 6th grade, and I just put a monthly calendar together. The office gets that. They know to wear their shirts on the days that they are greeting. And we have some that greet the buses and some that greet the car riders, and then they rotate throughout the month. So something new, like it says, brightening days, one hello to another, or making a difference, one smile to another.
That's awesome.
So, and I think, it's been a while.
So much.
I think
that
that,
might be it.
I like that.
I think that's it.
Yeah,
So that's where we.
Thank you
That's
for
where we-
sharing how
That's a great
they get
idea.
how they get selected and elected to student council, because I was always under the impression, how I recall, like maybe when my kids were in school, that it was a vote by the students. And sometimes I think kids get left out in that process, so I think it's great they apply.
They do. I started it with mine. I don't know how Ms. Shirk did it before I got there. That's how I've done it for 3 years, and we've even changed it a bit to make sure that it was more fair, so that we didn't know the names. And that's the thing, is we want others to have a chance. You know, we had a boy come in last year that was brand new to school, and by doing that anonymously, he had a chance to get in.
That's great.
That way,
Yeah.
we don't necessarily get the feedback from the other teachers. If we have questions, they'll let us know, but those usually narrow themselves out pretty easy. This year, we couldn't turn anybody down. Their essays were so
Yes.
powerful.
They were
The only one we could turn down was one 6th grader who literally signed it, had her mom sign it, and turned in nothing. So unfortunately but the kids really do. They see it, they're excited, they love it. They look forward to it. Next year, we're going to talk to 3rd grade beforehand, so they have an idea of what it is, so that they can be thinking about whether they want to do that on their own.
This is so, I was student council sponsor for years at the middle school, and we had to change how we did things because it became a popularity contest. And as people wanted it on their resume, and they really didn't want to work very hard, and we changed our procedures years ago to something very similar to what you're doing, and that's fantastic to have it started at that early age, the idea of expressing this is a job, this is service to your school, this greeters is a wonderful idea, particularly when you have a recalcitrant student who doesn't want to be there in the morning, and instead of seeing an adult that they might not like they see one of their peers, and I think that's a fantastic, I think that, and I recognize some of the kids from my neighborhood that are doing that. They have not mentioned that to me, but they tell me that they like school, so I can understand why. That's just really cool.
The thing I'd like to improve is I'd like to be able to take them to a leadership something, but I don't know, I'm new to Indiana, so I don't know if they have anything around that has anything for children for youth leadership things.
Typically not that young,
So,
yeah.
but if you hear of anything.
A goal one day.
That's right. Thank you all, appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. We appreciate you so much. Yeah, thank you so much.
That's.
I was gonna say, is there a cold?
Absolutely.
I mean, Sasha's freezing.
I don't know what.
It's hot with her.
Devin's daughter.
Well, it
Freezes your.
I know it's either one or the other.
Thank you, Dr. Summers. Absolutely.
Do I have a motion to approve the agenda as submitted and amended?
I'll make the motion.
Do I have a second? All those in favor, signify by raising your right hand. Any opposition? All opposed, same sign, motion carries. Okay, patron comments on agenda items. Nothing. Okay, consent agenda, approval of the minutes from regular business meeting of November 11th, 2025. Personnel report, recommendations for employment, background, retirement, resignations, leaves of absences. Approval of November 2025 claims 72276 to 72521. A donation of $1,400 from the Fayette County Community Foundation to cover the cost of college application fees on behalf of CHS and career coaches who made it possible. A donation of a 1996 semi-tractor cab. Estimated value is $5,000, provided from Rush County Feed LLC to the Diesel Technology Program. Appointment of Greg Kefauver to the Fayette County Area Planning Commission. Appointment of Ann Kirshner to the Connersville Park Board.
Madam President, I will make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I will second.
All those in favor, signify by raising your hand. Any discussion? Those opposed, same sign. Carried. Action items, approval of the 2026 school board meeting calendar.
All right. So I sent this to you for review previously, and we had some discussion about the possibility of adding some quarterly work sessions. And so you'll see that board meeting schedule in front of you. Those work sessions will be sessions that will not include any board action. Those will just be work sessions. And so the opportunity to get together and discuss some things that are important. I do believe we still have to stream those meetings. We've already talked to Team 3 on that. But you'll see they're every other week, of course, in those months as designated. We're starting in the month of February only because I wanted the August, I wanted that meeting to hit right before we approve your budget, so you have a chance to have a budget workshop, which I think will be really good. So the topics on those are subject to change. We can talk that through. This is just a draft in regards to the topics, but I would ask for approval for the dates as presented. Obviously, our regular monthly meeting is still going to remain on the second Tuesday of each month at 6:30 p.m. right here in this meeting, unless otherwise noted. So, questions?
I think this is a fantastic idea. We have so many things on our plate at this particular point in time. And we just don't, in a meeting like this, once a month, we just don't have time to get through all of them as I think we would like to do. So I think this is a really
Yeah, I
good
think
idea.
it'll help your business meetings as a board be business meetings, right? Not quite be as long as they are sometimes, which I think is a good thing. And you can use those other meetings to have a lot of discussion about what's to come, facilities planning, finance, things like that.
Are we approving individually? I don't know.
What's that? I'm sorry. Yeah, the action items will be individual. I'll
Have a
make that
motion.
motion.
I'll second.
All those in favor, signify by raising your hand. Discussion. Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. End of year business office procedures.
Yeah, so it's end of year, 2025, hard to believe we're already at the end of the year. So it's end of year processing as far as accounting goes. So should have 4 items on that sheet in front of you, kind of listing what areas of concern as we're moving through to December 31st, right? So we're gonna basically ask for you to allow us to continue to pay people and meet our debts as we finish the year, right? So, utility bills, that kind of stuff, right? We're gonna continue to pay those on time, that kind of stuff. If there is something that is sitting negative, this is the time and opportunity to correct that and make an adjustment to cover those negatives. Like a good example would be, say, Kate, she already left, say Kate overspent on printing or something like that, right? So we're gonna cover that with something else that she didn't overspend, right? So make those adjustments with those appropriation dollars within that particular fund, right? We're not crossing fund dollars or anything like that. So, and then 3 would be debt service payments. So those are tied to, again, all debts, our bonds and those kind of things when we're paying folks for the work that they're doing. And then the 4th item is tied to property taxes, right? So I've not seen historically where that has ever been an adjustment at this point during year end. It's usually done before now. So just seeking that you guys would approve that and that we're good to go as far as making adjustments when and where we need.
I have a quick question,
Sure.
or 2 questions. One, what you just said,
Yeah.
usually property taxes are paid, you're talking about Fayette County property taxes,
Correct, and how they come in, yes. So
but they've already been paid.
Correct.
So that we do
Correct,
normally,
correct.
yeah, okay.
Yeah, yes.
And then the other question is, each school, do they have their own budgets
Correct,
created by you?
yes.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Any other questions?
But in the school budget, is there some flexibility as far as, you just mentioned if Kate overspent on something, they could take it from another fund. It's not, we can't do that typically, because if it's designated for one thing, we don't have the wiggle room, but they do.
Correct,
As
they
far
do.
as those budgets.
Usually they'll reach out to us and ask if that's okay, and then
Okay.
allowable expense, and we'll have that conversation, right? So if they're overspending one line item and they have a ton of money in another line
Okay.
item, as long as they're staying within their total budget
Budget,
dollars, that's really
okay.
what I'm concerned with.
Okay. So that they don't have the restrictions that
Correct,
we have to deal with.
yes.
They can't move money around, but they can.
Yes, to some degree. To some degree,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah, oh, well, obviously, but
Yeah.
I was just curious about that.
Sure.
Any other questions? Do you have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
I have a second.
Madam President, I will make the second.
All those in favor, signify by raising your right hand. Discussion. Those opposed, same sign. Carries. Discussion. These are the policies.
Yeah, so discussion on new policies for you. This will be the last batch that you receive. We do have a few that are floating out there that we kind of pushed to the side and said, we'll deal with those later. So we have a few of those we still have to get to. But this will finish the majority of the heavy lift of our board policy revision. The next step will be to make sure that all of our administrative guidelines are up to date, that all of our appendices, Jim and I just had this discussion today, a lot of work to do on that. So we currently have a lot of appendices that outline administrative benefits or the benefits for our maintenance staff or like all of those documents. And unfortunately, I haven't been updated for a few years. We have some work to do on that. That's our next step. But I want to walk through these. This is the first reading of these policies. They've been sent to you. Hopefully you've had a chance to review them. If not, we'll have another opportunity to read them for a second time. In the month of January, the first one there is F100, I think is the first one that you have listed. Internal controls and reporting losses, shortages, variances, and thefts. So we have certain things that we're required to do, obviously, within our corporation in regards to internal controls. We're in the midst of an audit as we speak. If you talk to our ladies in the finance department, they will tell you that we are definitely in the midst of an audit. What I mean by that is they need a lot, right? So they ask for a lot of documents over the course of time.
Do they
But
stay here? Isn't it, they come in and they work here?
I don't know that they're gone right now. They might be sleeping in the, no, I'm kidding.
Yeah,
They're always
they're
here.
always here.
They're
I know, I
awesome.
remember that.
They're wonderful. But they're here Monday through Thursday and have long hours. They work 10 hours.
Through the
a
first
day.
of the year, they'll be here.
Yeah. So we have to have internal controls in place, obviously. There are some things in here as far as reporting substantial losses to the state board of accounts, those types of things. But that entire policy goes through what our expectations are under the law, under the state board of accounts in regards to those accounting practices. F-176 is unpaid meal balances. This is one that can be sticky for boards, right? This is one that can be contentious within a community. I'll just be really truthful with you and very open about this. My thought on this has always been, certain school corporations decide, no disrespect to them, to serve an alternate meal to kids who have a certain outstanding lunch balance. It's always been on my heart. I will never support that. Honestly, if you look at the numbers, oftentimes that alternate meal is more expensive than the regular meal. All we're doing is we're calling out a kiddo, and students have they don't control their own finances. And so they will be served, as they always have been, a regular meal. They won't be able to go get a la carte items, which means you've eaten your meal, you're still hungry, you want a bag of potato chips, you want to go get that. We can't charge that, right? But the nice thing about Chartwell's is that you can have as much fruit, vegetable as you want. I don't know if you guys know that, but our kids can go back, they can have 15 apples if they want to. But, oh, I shouldn't say that loud, but take 3 or 4 is fine. But, yes, I'm sorry. Yeah. But honestly, like Chartwell's does such a good job with that. We do have $50 as that cutoff for considering it to be a significant lunch balance, and so certain things happen at that point in time. One of those being at the end of the school year, there has to be some sort of culpability for a parent. We have to hold them accountable in some form. And so at the end of the year, if they're above that, we turn them into collections, right? We do, as a corporation, carry a balance all the time of unpaid lunches. I know certain corporations out there but sometimes will have community people that pull their efforts and try to get those down. But we just carry, I think Rachel said we carry a pretty consistent balance since COVID to this point. If you remember COVID, everybody was free, right? So all that stuff was kind of wiped out. And so I think that's right under $20,000 is what we typically carry in a negative balance. But here's what I want to say. We're not a bank. Neither are we a restaurant. Neither are we in the business of making money, right? We're in the business of serving children, right? So as long as we're serving children well and we're paying our bills and we can operate in our lunch, in our cafeteria account, then I'm happy. So that's Jeremy's heart. So that's where we're at.
I have a quick question.
Yeah, please.
We raised it at the meeting too.
Yeah.
After receiving $50 in meal charges, right now, that's not very much, quite honestly. That's less than 2 weeks if you're paying for your lunch. And turning it over to collections, do we turn it over, and we've had this discussion too, do we turn it over to somebody who actually takes a percentage of that out? So are we, in other words, if somebody owes us $500 and we turn it over to collections, they're gonna take their cut so we don't get the entire amount to begin with. And frankly, some collections are a bit draconian in their way they handle things.
Yeah, I understand.
And I think we need to be, again, we're in a position, we deal with kids, and they can't control what their adults and their families do.
100%.
So, as long as we're still feeding them, I don't, and the alternate lunch is just awful.
I have a question. Say a student has a negative balance of $50 at the end of the year, and we roll that over to the next year. When they sign up, are we being proactive with that parent and trying to maybe sign up for free and those lunches?
That's a great question. I would like to say
Like a
yes, but
list
I would have to
of
talk to
people?
Rachel about that.
Typically, at the building level, when a student enters that negative number, we will reach out to them at the
Multiple
building
attempts,
and
yeah.
say multiple times, like, hey, have you thought about applying, you know, and providing them with the form to apply. So
Perfect.
Rachel does a great job of working with the individual schools to help support them as well.
Well, and
Because
also
things
too,
change.
we've had problems with people trying to sign up for the free and reduced price lunch on their phones because the app did not work. So there were some people that were truly believed their kids had a free lunch, and then they get this huge bill and they can say, well, we signed up for the free lunch, and pretty much know that they would be eligible because they're already eligible for SNAP benefits. But something in the technology, so having done registration at the middle school for years, we make sure that we try to get all those people to decide if you're eligible for free lunch, sign in on our laptops, not trying to do it on your phone, because it looks as if on the phone, on the app, like you've done it, and you really have not. So I think we need to be very cognizant of that also, to make sure that everybody that firmly believes they've signed up for the free lunch and is eligible for it is actually getting to it. Because getting a big bill and going, wait a minute, my kid's got free lunch, or you know, I applied for it back in August when school started, is problematic, and it makes it more difficult for Chartwells too.
And we can retroactive back, I believe, 2 weeks, I think.
And there's typically
Once
a
they
grace period at the beginning
qualify.
of the year.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Good questions, thank you guys. I'm sure I missed one here. F-275 gifts and donations just talks through the fact that if we received a gift or donation in any form over $100, it comes through you, just like we just did. You approved 2 donations here. This one also goes through the use of gift cards. Any gift cards that we give out, essentially as a school corporation, need to come through you as a board for formal resolution. I know that seems like a lot, but there's a reason for that. So gift cards are often used for fraud. They're often used to circumvent State Board of Accounts eyes and ears, and our eyes and ears. And so there's a reason for why we do that. And there's some liability associated with gift cards if they're used to purchase things that might not be of that, things that we want them to purchase. I'll just say that. So, so there's a process. I have an administrative guideline for that as well, but that does require your formal approval as a board by resolution. In short, we don't want our people to use gift cards. Like that's just the way that it is. So,
And do we do these? I guess that was a question that was raised when we were talking, how many times do we actually give a gift card?
I don't know the answer to that. I don't think it probably
Jamie
happens.
stopped that years ago.
Well, doesn't the
That's what I
wellness
thought.
committee, they did
But
do
if
some.
they do, there's a sign-off sheet that you received it and what it was used for.
Yeah, I don't know.
But
There's
most
accounting
schools,
guidelines,
yeah,
yeah,
most of the
that we have
schools
to
have
keep.
not.
And if that's the case, if
Yeah.
Wendy's gonna do that this year, then we'll just have to bring it to you by
I don't
formal
know if they're
resolution.
doing it, but,
Yeah.
We haven't for a while.
okay.
Yeah, so F-300, time and effort. So federal funds require that we keep time and effort logs essentially for the work that's done using federal funds. So we have some employees in our district who are paid out of corporation funds partially, and then partially out of federal funds. So those employees essentially have to keep track of time and effort, which essentially means how much of your day was spent on things related to federal work, how much of your day was spent on things of corporate work. And all of that is spelled out in law though. So we already do that. This policy is essentially saying that we have to. F-325, interestingly, was one of the ones that we were asked for during our process of bonding of our debt management policy, which essentially just lays out how we manage the corporation's debt. We all know that we carry a certain debt load. Conversation has been lately, as 2028 moves, on levy management rather than tax rate management. We'll talk more and more about that as we move along. But managing that debt is really, really an important part of what we do. This policy essentially spells that out, but a lot of this is legal and based upon the law. F-350 is cash balance and liquidity. Essentially, we need, as a corporation, to maintain a healthy liquid cash balance. And so we set some thresholds here. I know I had a question from Leslie about what those numbers, those percentages are. Can they be different? The answer is absolutely, right? There are some federal standards out there, I shouldn't say federal standards, there are some standards out there from national institutions that say that 2 months worth of liquid cash to be able to pay your expenditures is the minimum amount that you want to carry. That's where that 13.5% comes from. If you double that, of course, that equals 4 months. That would be the target, to have 4 months worth of liquid cash to be able to pay your bills in the event that government shuts down, right? Or what, things happen, right? You just never know. And so those standards have been set. We can move them if you choose to. That's up to you as a board. Again, this is a first reading. We can revise between now and the next time. It does set some goals for rated A funding as well, 4% and 8% as well. So I don't know your thoughts on that. If you want to look at making different thresholds, that's really okay.
My question came from just knowing, going back, maybe from this point, I don't know where we are now, but Fayette County's always maintained a very healthy cash balance. Close to 50% was what my understanding was. That is high, and I thought the average was about 35% by schools, just from talking to other board members, so.
I wouldn't want to get to 13.5.
I know.
I wouldn't want to get there.
No. 35 may be a goal. I don't know with SEA 1, you know, how much we can really afford to keep in a cash balance, but that has helped us out in the past when there's been an unintended expense that has arisen. And we've had, you know, if you only have 25% or 20% or 15% and you have a big expenditure that surprises you, wouldn't that possibly drain that? And then you'd have to build that. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
50% seems high.
50 seems high, yeah.
50% seems high, yeah. Usually I'm used to carrying 90 days of cash on hand.
Okay.
Is typically what I'm used to.
Okay.
But the 35% probably seems a little better.
And maybe for schools, typically, although that may look different as we go forward.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, if you look at your fund summary, you can look at our operations account, our operations fund, and we're at $11 million in cash balance. That's very healthy. I don't remember what our approved budget was when you look at operations versus education. I'd have to look at it to see what percentage that represents, but I'm guessing it's probably close to that 50% that you're talking about.
Yeah.
So is that good? Absolutely. Does that position us well for 2028 and the things that are coming? Absolutely. So, you know, we can set those numbers higher if we choose. It's your policy.
That was just where that question came from, so
Yeah,
I wanted to
absolutely.
explain that. Does that have anything to do with our bond rating, what kind of cash balance we have or no?
Absolutely.
Oh, okay.
In fact, interestingly, the question came up during our bond rating call, like, hey, the last time you bonded, you had talked about the fact that you were going to spin this balance down a bit, and you haven't. And so we had to give an explanation of why. Essentially, we're preparing for 2028. We're trying to make sure that we're fiscally solvent, that we're making sure we're making good decisions financially, and putting ourselves in a good position for that. So to everyone's credit, with the things that we've done already and that we plan to do, we're in a good position that way. But yeah, that question did come up.
So is it negative?
So
Are you
does that
saying
hurt
it's
us?
a negative thing to have?
I don't know why the question would be asked the way that it was asked, unless it could potentially hurt you in a negative way.
That makes
Although,
no
when I
sense.
read, but I will say, when I read the final summary, it did mention the fact that we did have very strong cash balances, and that did work in our favor.
Okay.
It's kind of like the debt to income ratio with people trying to borrow money.
Yeah,
I think it's just one of those questions I want to ask him.
yeah, possibly.
We understand.
Okay, so those are all new policies for you. The next four are revisions, so you have four revised policies. D300, controlled substance and alcohol testing, the only thing that changed there was the fact that we can, if we choose, if we hire somebody that's in quote-unquote a safety-sensitive position, that would be using heavy equipment, anything like that, that we have the right to ask them to submit to a drug test prior to hire. We already do that with our bus drivers, obviously, and they have regular testing as well. That's required by the state. This would give us that flexibility if we chose to do that. There were some things that changed in terms of federal thresholds on F-125 purchasing procedures and capital assets. This policy is a very lengthy policy that essentially talks through our expectations in regards to procurement of projects and procurement of goods and services, and how we do that. And so again, some of those federal thresholds have changed. You see that spelled out there. That's the change in the policy. F-225 fundraising and crowdfunding, we have a policy that governs that. You've approved it previously. This new revision changes it and essentially removes the specific names of crowdsourcing companies. So it removes donors choosing GoFundMe. And then it also removes the requirement to inform the board of such fundraisers.
we're still floating.
Don't see a lot of looking at me, though. I need to slow down. I'm so sorry.
No, it's good.
Well, there's one that printed funny too.
Yeah.
I don't, yeah.
No, we're with you now.
And so I would say, it does also talk through, like if you use crowd funding in some form, whatever you purchase, who does it belong to, right? And what does that look like? Which is a really good question. Like I sent it to my principals and they asked that question, does this, like if we do an Amazon wish list, right? A little different, right? Because that's bought specifically for that teacher, for that, like there's like stuff they're purchasing. But crowdsourcing, if I'm purchasing on behalf of the school, on behalf of a classroom, it's a little different, right? And so that essentially is property of the school corporation because those people that were giving that money believe it to be for that purpose, right? So it spells all of that out in that policy for you. The last one, G125, there were some changes, things that changed for the criminal organizational activity policy. Essentially, this policy is no longer required legally. This is one of the things that one of our bills in the last legislative session took away, but we don't have to have this anymore. There's no reason really to remove it, but it did add some reporting requirements there that are discussed in your synopsis. So, okay. Yeah. Questions? I know this is obviously just for discussion today. If you happen to look them over, and you have questions or you have concerns or anything, please bring them to me. And we'll do the best we can to address them before next time we come together. So, Jared, did you have something?
The F-275 was 105 or 100?
F-275.
It's the
Gifts and donation.
gifts and donate. You said 100, but it says 500.
He had asked us, mentioned upping it.
Five.
I don't know.
Is that, did we
it never came
make that
up.
revision?
Agree, yeah, if it's over 500, they
This
have to do a
one's-
memo to the board. Remember, it was 100.
Oh, so my synopsis didn't change with the policy change.
Yes, you
Gotcha.
said it.
I
but-
apologize. Thank you so much.
Just
Nope,
making
you're
sure.
good. Thank you for the clarification. I apologize.
Okay, nothing else. Okay, public comments. As a matter of courtesy, complaints concerning specific individuals, including teachers, students, coaches, and other employees are not permitted at the public board meeting. Any persons wishing to make the board aware of any suggestions, ideas, or comments. You may address the board at this time. Anyone?
I actually wanted to speak, if that was okay. I had an incident on 11/21 of 2025 where my daughter had come home and she had stated that her substitute Title I teacher had, and I'm just stating what she had stated to me, but had smacked her on her head. Her father and I got in contact with the principal who had stated on Monday that she would handle this due to it being a Friday. When I had went to go speak with Miss Morgan, which my daughter goes to Frazee, I had been been told by the secretary that she was not there due to a conference. When we had previously spoken on that Friday, she did not let me know that she was going to be at a conference, and she had let me think that we were going to get things resolved following that Monday morning. I was also been told by Miss Morgan that the Title I assistant, who is named Miss Couch, would not be around children.
We can't
Oh,
say
sorry.
name.
I'm sorry, I
We
didn't
can't
hear.
talk
I'm so
about it.
sorry. It's hard to hear over there. But the Title I teacher would not be around kids until after the investigation was done. When I got in contact with the principal, I was then told that I had misunderstood and that she was just going to be in a separate area of the school. I had then not felt like, or I felt uncomfortable with the situation, and I was not sure if this matter was being taken seriously since I was misinformed or misunderstood. So I had then removed both my children with me and stated that I felt unsafe leaving them there at that until the matter was taken care of. I let the secretary know that I would be calling the superintendent when I left, and when I did contact the superintendent when I had been told that they were already in a meeting and they would contact me shortly because it should have been an adjourned meeting, or it should be adjourned soon. About 30 minutes went by, or 15 to 30 minutes went by, and I got a call from the superintendent asking me to bring my daughter to be questioned for the investigation. we came here and she was questioned, and they said after that they were going to go to Frazee to question other students who had witnessed it and the Title I teacher. And I would be called later that day to be told where the investigation was. Later that day I was called and was told that the actions weren't egregious, that the teacher said that it was just playful and that it was harmless, or it was a harmless boop. When my daughter had come home, she had stated that it was after she had called another student a liar. I'm not stating that that by any means is okay. I'm not saying that she should have done that, but she was then either smacked or booped after she had done an action towards another child. I had also worked for the school corporation, not the school corporation itself, but I worked for Chartwell, so I worked with kids. When I worked at the middle school, I had come in with different, where kids would have multiple fights, and we were never allowed to put our hands on the child in any matter, even if we were helping the situation. I remember when I first got hired on, there was a situation where a fight had broke out, and 2 lunch aides, including myself when I was recently hired, was around the student, and my boss had come up to me and asked me, Cassie, did you touch any of the children? And I had stated no, and she said, good, because that's the first thing that'll be looked at, because we're not allowed to touch the children during any kind of thing like that. And I know, again, that was through Chartwell's, not through the school board. But in my eyes, whether it was a boop or it was a smack, I don't know when it was okay for adults to put their hands on children. I was then told that with how I was acting, that I was maybe after a person's job. I'm not after a person's job. I just don't understand where there is a fine line between placing hands on students, whether it was, my daughter calls it a smack, or they call it a boop, and how we decipher that between a child and an adult saying that. I just feel like there's a very, I just felt very unsafe and uncomfortable with it. We were then told that I could not know what was being done with the Title I teacher due to it being an HR issue, which that was fine. But I was told it would also be up to the principal what would come to this, because the superintendent had come to their conclusion on it. I have not been updated with anything by the principal. I have not been contacted since the conversation with the superintendent. And this, like I said, this incident all took place on 11/21/25. I just wanted to make this aware to the school board that a parent does feel unsafe with their children being around a teacher that may have smacked a child. I'm not sure. I honestly am at a loss for words, to be honest. I've tried to get my thoughts into it, but I just know with how I've worked with it that it would have been unacceptable if it were me. And it's not about if it were me, but it's happened to my child, and I feel strongly about it. I also, whenever I was said that I didn't feel safe with my child going to Frazee with the Title I teacher there, I was then offered for my child to be transferred when my child has established an education at the school she goes to, rather than maybe the Title I assistant being moved to where she could still work at any school. There's multiple elementary schools. But my daughter has made friendships, she's established relationships with teachers, and she also is, she's in IEP classes or as well, so she's getting pulled out with aides, and she's already established those relationships with her aides, and they've been helping her with that. She's been flagged with dyslexia, and I just don't feel comfortable switching her from, maybe stalling that anymore, because she's in 2nd grade and we've already retained her once, and if she doesn't pass this reading test this year, then she's going to be retained again. So I just don't want this to affect her anymore than maybe what it already has, because knowing my daughter, she wouldn't have brought it up to me if it was I don't feel like she would have brought it up to us at all if it was a harmless boop. I feel like she only brought it up to us because she did feel uncomfortable, and that's why I want to bring it to your guys' attention. Thank you, and I really appreciate it.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Report items? ISBA?
The only thing I'm going to mention is January 23rd, I believe it's the 23rd, it's a Friday. at 8:30 a.m. in this room. ISBA is having each region host a coffee chat, and it's just an opportunity for school board members in your region to come together. It's just like you can all hang around and just talk. And we don't get a chance to do that ourselves, so that's a little bit of an opportunity. Actually, somebody from ISBA will come here. They bring the donuts and the drinks, which I didn't know. Although I was kind of
sold me
told
a donut.
8:30, like we have to leave at 7? Like, yeah. Because the thought was then people who come can go back and maybe go back to work. So that you'll see that come through, you have to register. That's so that we can make sure we have space here and just, I doubt we'll have more than 30, but they said to count on 30, so. Anyway, put that on your calendar. It'll be Friday morning at 8:30. It'd be great if our whole board can be here. It would really show a lot to visiting board members.
January 23rd.
Yeah, confirm that that is a,
Is that the?
January 23rd is a Friday. It's the fourth Friday. It's not the last Friday, but it's the fourth Friday.
Oh, it's not the 3rd, because I've got to go to the meeting.
It's the fourth Friday at 8:30. That's all I have.
Principals, directors report.
Just a reminder about the choir concert Thursday night, 7 o'clock at the middle school auditorium. And then the band concert along with the high school will be at the Weiss Center on Friday at 7 o'clock. So you're all invited.
Director of operations report.
So you should have the fun report, nice green card stock. It's Jeremy's fault, I would have printed on
Not
white.
my fault.
It's supposed to be in green. It's kind of my fault because I showed you the paper, but
It
I
is your
didn't
fault.
feel it.
It's both your fault. Anyway.
So I'll take
So,
partial blame.
It stands out, Jim.
It
I
does
No,
like
stand
that.
and
I
it
like
makes
it.
it easier.
I know, but I'm cheap, I don't like it, it's expensive.
Well, all right.
I like your thought.
I like the green. Is green more expensive than white? Oh.
All color paper
Every
is more
color.
expensive than
Yeah.
white.
We're going back to white.
Green means money.
Green is good.
Green, that's
We
what,
could, we could,
green means
we
money.
could be grinchy on this stuff, yes.
That's right. So, this is, the comparison from this November to last November, just showing across the various funds and accounts, where we're at. So I think we're positioned well. I think we're gonna end the year basically where we did last year.
Good.
So very close. So, you can see that we added, I didn't circle it or box it in so you guys could quickly see like Eastview construction bond. We already got there because we're already incurring some expenses with that. So we already built the account there to capture those. So once we do get the funds, we can just cover.
When do those come in?
So Thursday, we're supposed to get wires out to the trust company and then us as well. So should be this Thursday.
We are almost done.
We are.
Great.
And those of you that have been signing documents, we'll take these.
Yes, yes. So if you have any questions or anything pops up, just let me know.
Assistant superintendent.
Thank you, Madam President, Board. I just wanted to kind of give you a brief overview of iLearn Checkpoint 1. I met with my administrators with grade level teachers to kind of talk about our progress so far, and I know one of the board's I don't know the word I'm looking for, comments was that they would like to see some progress on some of our goals and things. So this is just a brief snapshot. We focused on ELA at our grade level meetings because we have spent a lot of time with implementation of Vimy Math. But I know that Vimy Math is something that we had a lot of discussion with the board on. So I wanted to kind of come back and show you, we are very early in the implementation of Vimy Math. As any new curriculum is implemented, there is that dip. It does take time, but you can see these are, and it was on a spreadsheet, so I had to write at the top their grade levels. So these are grade level cohorts. So all of the third grades in Eastview, Everton, Fayette Central, Frazee, and Grandview, and then the next page is fourth grade, fifth grade, sixth grade. Because we meet with our teachers as grade levels, so we look at their data and the data before them and the data afterwards. So I kind of just wanted to highlight, I gave you the ELA data just because it's on the form, but I really, tonight I want to highlight the Vimy Math and the progress and the achievement that we are already seeing in the first iLearn checkpoints. And if you remember, iLearn checkpoints are the states identifying the priority standards for the first 9 weeks of school or 6 weeks of school, and then we test them, and that determines the mastery of those priority standards based on the instruction that we're providing our kiddos. So if you look at third grade, you can see the last year's scores. I did not put the state averages on there because we didn't discuss it in grade levels, but I can get that for you. But if you look to the right, you can see 2025, the state average for third grade was 45%, the corporation average was 44%, and we had 2 of the 5 schools that exceeded the state average, and we had 1 that significantly exceeded it at 62%. But if you look at 2024, these are the same priority standards with the difference of the implementation of Vimy Math, and almost all of them went up significantly from last year. If you flip over to 4th grade, again, you can see that the state average was 47%, the corporation average was 53%. We had 2 of our 5 schools exceed that state average, and 1 was at 83% mastery of those standards. You can see the year before, we also had 2 schools. You can tell that the state average last year was very low in that grade level, because 34%. Oh, no, that shouldn't be right, because there's a 38%. So we only had 1 school last year, excuse me. That green should not be there on that 34%. But again, you can see that most of the schools, if not all of them, made some kind of increase. Some of them significantly, some of them 1 or 2%, but still 1 or 2% in the first round of implementation of a brand new program is usually pretty unheard of.
When did they test?
They tested right before fall break.
Okay.
It's a large window, so the state gives you an opportunity to test whenever you feel like you've made it through your curriculum. Vimy Math has aligned their curriculum to the iLearn checkpoint, so it'll tell us in that curriculum when we're ready to test. And it gives us like a week and a half to review any of the priority standards or do small group instruction around them before we test. The iLearn Checkpoint 2 is now open, so I'll have that data probably for you maybe February, just depends on how quickly the state turns it back over. If you look at 5th grade, you can see that the state average was 42%. We, again, as a corporation, met or exceeded that at 43%. We then had 3 of our 5 schools at or above state average. And we had a couple of schools that did show some decline in that. So those are areas of cohorts that we need to look at and see why those kiddos are not responding. And there could be multiple things. And then you go to 6th grade. We're really happy with our 6th grade. 6th grade iLearn is very difficult. If you've ever seen a 6th grade iLearn test in math, it's extremely difficult. And so to see these scores just made our 6th grade team extremely excited, and so kudos to them. The state average was 30, the corporation average was 36. You can see that 4 out of the 5 schools are at or above that state average, and a lot of them made some pretty good growth in terms of achievement. And then you go to the last page, that's our middle school, 7th and 8th. 7th grade math, the state average was 37%. The CMS average was 39%, so they exceeded the state average. We're still struggling at 8th grade, but I think it's important to recognize that we do have 8th grade. Some of our students are taking algebra, so it's going to take us a little bit more time to implement Vimy in terms of how that impacts our Algebra 1 students. So we're still working there to kind of figure that out and how that works, and I'm expecting iLearn Checkpoint 2 to show some growth. So this is just a quick overview of what is happening in our classrooms, and I think it's safe to say that all of our teachers are doing a fantastic job with the implementation of Vimy, and we're seeing the results that Grandview saw when they did their implementation of Vimy.
And so I sent you some of this data. It looked a little bit different than what I sent you.
Yeah, we have a very
Click on the
different
link,
way of
yeah.
organizing.
Yeah, I think one of the things that's important to know is when we look at this data, we're looking at 3rd grade this year as opposed to 3rd grade last year, right? So different cohorts, right? So different children. So it's not individual student growth, nor is it cohort growth. It's just the grade level where we were last year to this year. So it's really we use the word growth, but it's really not growth because it's not the same kids. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So that's important. So you can track groups, if you will, cohorts differently than what we do here. But I think it's important to note that, that state average is what we shoot for. Obviously, we want to be above that. I did send you some data this last week on your Friday letter that showed many different data points in regards to how we compare to other districts that are like us. I think that's an important piece, I really do. And so, based on last year's iLearn data, as far as those trends that we saw, we did really well last year compared to schools that have like demographics. So kudos to our people for that, so.
Yeah, I think another point too is when we look at that, we all use a curriculum map. We all know what standards are identified by the state, and then we're all using the same resources. So it helps us to understand when our kids are not responding to that tier 1 instruction. So even though you're not comparing apples to apples, you're still looking at, you should see some consistency if we're all using the same curriculum map and the same resources.
Sure.
We should start seeing some trends, and if we're not seeing those trends moving upward, then that's where we need to start making some adjustments within our delivery of instruction or our small group instructions. So we use it for multiple pieces, and so when he presents it to you maybe a little differently than I do when I present it to teachers, so.
Yeah, for sure.
Just giving you that.
Yeah, but the chart that I sent you that showed, I'm sorry.
So when you look at this and then you will see like the different levels, do you identify that and then go back into the classroom to try to figure out what might not be working in that classroom if you're seeing a dip?
Yes, so we have PLCs, which are just like professional learning communities within our buildings, and our principals on the early release days that you guys have allowed them to do, they use this data to determine what kids need additional support, and they start getting that tier 2 instruction. It also, then we take that to their grade level, and it gives grade level teachers the opportunity to see, and we just throw all the data out there. And if we have one teacher who's doing really well, we will pick that teacher's brain and say, why do you feel like your kids responded so well when maybe mine didn't? And so they'll say, well, I didn't feel like my kids understood it this way, so I may have used this strategy versus this strategy. And that's where we start to really see student achievement increase, when teachers can learn from each other.
Love it.
And it allows us to really look at why kids aren't responding and who needs that additional support.
Well, isn't pacing too, with
Oh, absolutely.
Pacing is huge with anything, and in any individual group of kids. You could teach the same subject matter to 5 different classes, and you're gonna have to pace them differently because they're not homogeneous. You have kids that learn differently. And I think that's been one of the difficult things about any new program is how to pace it in the first.
Right, especially when you're learning it. Teachers are learning to teach it. Kids are learning how to experience it in a different way. And then we have kids who move from school to school to school. And so all of those factor into it. That's why we have to disaggregate that data in many ways to determine, is it just the fact that the kid has switched schools 3 times? Is it because they didn't respond to it in tier 1 and they need additional support? There's many different variables that go into it. And that's why we have to really take that time to look at it. And teachers at a grade level and both at the building level.
Kim, on the score, on the checkpoints or whatever, do you also then determine, oh, well, our kids are pretty strong in whatever,
like numbers,
grammar, but comprehension, they're really struggling with? I mean, does it break it down a little bit? Okay.
Not as much on the checkpoints as we would like it to. They're getting better, because if you remember, for the first several years of implementation of checkpoints, it was on you just opted in. It wasn't, everybody wasn't required to do it. Last year and this year, the first year that they're required, so we are getting more data because everybody is required to do it. But yeah, we look at all of those things.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Good work.
Superintendent.
Okay, so a couple things. Good news, Frazee, we got our occupancy permit today, which means that although there are some punch list items still to be done, we were able to move, and I didn't get over there today to see. Do you know if did they move to the kindergarten rooms today? How crazy?
They were moving.
They were moving? Yeah. So that's great news. So that last phase, phase 4, essentially we're moving to those classrooms. Kindergarten classrooms look amazing. I don't know if you guys get to see that.
There's so much stuff.
Oh, they look wonderful. Yeah, they look really nice. So that's great news. Again, some punch list stuff to be done, but we expect those things to be done in the next 3 weeks, which is really good. So that means we're almost at the finish line there. The pool, we're very, very close. We had a little hiccup last week. We had to drain the pool. It wasn't good. We've got the pool refilled. Now we're working on heating the pool, right, and getting our chemicals balanced. And so we had a timing system meeting last week to make sure we're all trained on the timing system. Got another training Wednesday about some of the nuts and bolts of the underside of the pool to make sure that our people understand how to properly take care of it, to make sure it's maintained. I think that's tomorrow, I think, yeah. But we're really close. The 12th was the hard deadline, understanding that the 19th is our invitational. So we have, I believe, someone coming to test the water tomorrow and Friday.
We will test tomorrow, take it to Muncie, and then we will test again on Friday, have it sent up.
Okay, so we do that ourselves?
Yes.
Oh, awesome, great.
And then they will turn it over to us next Wednesday afterwards. I mean, we'll get it, but they'll still have a punch list to finish up, but we will have the water ready, everything will be good to go.
Yeah. So they did leave the lights on for us tonight, so if you're interested in going and just looking, you're welcome to head over there when we're finished, and we can take a quick look. So I did send this to you, Community Foundation. I just want to give them a shout out and a thank you for their investment in our people, in our community, in our kids, in our schools. They've offered to essentially give us a pot of money that we can use for any teacher who is seeking after additional licensure. This could be a teacher that's teaching a high school course that just needs to be certified into a credit, right? Has to go back to school. This could be somebody in an emergency permit that has to go back to school to do some additional work. There's lots of scenarios that could fit. And the intent again was to help people become teachers. And so make sure they're fully licensed. So just want to say thank you to them. We're still working on some details of the application, but we'll have that done very soon. Just want to thank our community for their grace and understanding of weather-related issues. Obviously, we had some this past week. I always state it, but I always do what's best for kids and treat our kids as if my own children are on the roads. But at the same time, we don't always get it right because we have to make decisions by 6 a.m. Our first bus rolls then sometimes, especially when you talk about like fog. Like sometimes it can be really good at 6 and then really bad at 7:15 a.m. And we can't help that. And there are times I will be the first one to own it and say we missed it. I think we got this week right. You know, the second delay we had, we may or may not. We'd heard some reports that roads had gotten really bad that night.
Country roads were horrible.
Yeah, that's what we had heard. I had people tell me my road was as bad tonight as it's been all week. And so we just felt like it was better to give us a few extra hours, give us some daylight for our drivers and that type of thing. So thank you again, and thank you to Daryl and his team. We had the snow. Honestly, our lots looked fantastic the next day. They worked really hard to clear those lots. I think we forget sometimes. I know I do. I take it for granted. But I know I came in and our lots and our sidewalk out here were spotless. So those guys worked really hard. And no, they're doing that when many of us are still in bed. So Daryl and I typically we start talking about 4:45, 4:50. In the morning on those days, and actually just about every day sometimes. So thank you, Daryl. We appreciate you. And thank you to your team. A strategic planning survey went out. I know some of you saw that. We did talk about that a little bit today. About 350 or so responses to that strategic planning survey so thus far. We're going to push that again a few more times and try to get some more responses. Our goal is 1,000 responses by the end of the calendar year. So. Professional Learning Day is coming up on January the 19th. We're working on some planning right now to put a really meaningful day together for our teachers and our staff. Always include our classified staff in that as well. I think that's really important. And we've got a keynote that's going to be here. Jim McMillan's going to be here. So some of you know Jim. He has got plenty of Connersville ties. Jim is super talented, so I'm excited to have him here. And Kim and I met the other day, and we brainstormed all kinds of ideas that we're trying hard to put into place. So. And also, we met with our counseling team this week and our career coaches. Just want to give a shout out to those guys. We've gone from 3 pathways last year to 10 within our high school building. That's a tremendous accomplishment to make sure that happens. That's opportunities for kids, right? We added 2 career coaching positions through a grant halfway through the year here. Well, not halfway through the year, a couple months into the year. They have hit the ground running. They're incredible. I don't know if you've seen their career coaching newsletters they're putting out. The work they're doing to help kids focus on their future is just incredible. You know, FAFSA help, resume help, college and career help, like all the things that they're doing. They're going to visit in their school corporation here next week to learn some things about what they're doing. Just really, really great people working hard for kids. I'm just really proud of them. So I just wanted to say that publicly.
Is that a grant that will likely be renewed?
Great question.
And
So,
the state, the state's pushing the graduation pathway, so the state should actually pay for that position.
yeah, it will stay. In what form is the question. So that grant is one of those grants the state puts out there that has to go through a pass-through. That pass-through for us right now is East Central Educational Service Center, so ECSC that used to be in town. I'm on their board, but they're the pass-through for that grant. So we snuck in on the back end of that grant. We actually weren't in it originally because the application period is before my arrival. And the Service Center's been great to help us out with that, we've obviously seen the fruit of that with the work that we've done. Long story short, in terms of will it be renewed, I just asked that question again last week to Pat Haney, the director there. His response was essentially, I don't know why we haven't heard anything yet, but we haven't. So he reached out to some contacts at the state, and essentially they had more applicants this year. The pot is a little bit smaller, the pot of money, so there is concern that we won't necessarily get the amount of money we received prior. But I'm committed to that. I think that's such an important piece of what we do. And unfortunately, in today's world, oftentimes our counselors get, I don't want to say stuck in the mud because that sounds bad, but they get working with very respite, emergent things with kids who are in states of crises. And they don't necessarily get the time to talk to kids about futures and do that work. And so I think having career coaches who are really good at what they do, well-trained, doing the work, really takes a lot of that burden off of their shoulders. The state is requiring more all the time. And so we have to do career discovery meetings with every junior and senior every year. Well, who does that, right? It's a heavy lift. And so we're trying to make it meaningful and relevant, not just check boxes, but we also recognize that those positions are really important to accomplishing an important end for our kids. So.
And the grant that we got to help pay for college admission.
Oh, yeah, it's awesome.
If you apply to a lot of colleges, the amount of money can be astronomical, particularly if you're on a very tight budget. So a lot of these kids, not only is the cost of college, but the $50 application fee or the $100 application fee.
$100, yeah.
Yeah, and so it's like, well, why should I bother?
Yeah.
Because I can't afford the application fee, so I'm not even going to. And hopefully this will try to alleviate a real issue. We have kids that go to college, but the number of them that actually finish is not good. And why? There's a lot of reasons why. You know, do they get an associate's degree? What's going on? But they don't transition well from out of high school, even with college credits, into college. And I think that's something that we have to be aware of if we're going to make the best thing for all of our kids. So
yeah, for sure.
and that grant will. I think that grant will help with.
Yeah. Another way the Community Foundation's helping us, so thank you to Abby was on the team there. And honestly, that was an initiative by our career coaches. They're the ones that pushed that and got that done. So it's good stuff. Yeah.
Okay, for the good of the cause.
I saw, I think, our Whitewater Career Center graphic team design won state.
I saw that today too. At the State House.
Awesome.
Yeah, they do it.
Yes.
It's really cool. I've been to it before. I didn't realize they were competing, but yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, they're
Just
state
today,
champs.
I
Pretty
just saw
sure
it on
that's
social
what
media.
the Facebook
Yeah.
post said.
Yeah,
I haven't seen it.
It just-
I was just trying to pull it up so I would
And-
make sure what I was saying was correct, but I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
These are graphic design students. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do an
It
amazing
says-
That's awesome.
It
So I
was-
wanted to give a shout out to them. I think that's
It
awesome.
was just posted late this afternoon.
Yeah.
There's good, I think if you know Kyle Pryor, that's not a
She's
surprise.
Yeah, she's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, she's incredible. Yeah, it sounds like they were chosen as one of 6 finalists invited to present. And I've been there before. It's almost like they stand and they pitch their product to professionals who essentially score them. and it sounds like they did really well. They were division winners, so.
Yeah, they had the trophy and everything.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I was like,
Yeah.
get them
That's fresh
pictures.
off the press. Mr. Duncan tried to call me after school. That's maybe why he's calling me to tell me, but yeah, thank you for that, Eric. I appreciate that. That's awesome.
I was super pumped for them.
I would just like to recognize Sasha for stepping into the president's role. She's had to do that a lot this year, and not a slam on Ryan. He had life catch up with him. But she has done it gracefully, and I just want to commend her for a job well done.
Yes.
Yes. Yes, I agree.
Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I so move, Madam President.
I will second.
All those in favor signify by raising your right hand. Those opposed, same sign. We are adjourned.
Thank you all.